Welcome to your first float at Temple Float Spa. We've prepared a short video introduction to make sure your first float experience is out of this world. This video will briefly explain how your float session works and give you some simple tips to get the most out of your first session. The basics of flotation therapy, or sensory deprivation, consist of approximately 180 gallons of water, with 1,000 pounds of medical-grade Epsom salt dissolved in the water, which is heated to 94.5 degrees, which is your external skin temperature. The salt makes the floater extremely buoyant, making it effortless to float. Each customer will be escorted back to their own private suite after filling out the required paperwork. Once in the room, you will get undressed and take a shower to remove any oils or lotions and makeup off your body and face. Please make sure you have rinsed all the soap off before entering pod. At this time, please remove all jewelry before entering water. To get inside the pod, simply sit down on the edge of the pod. While holding the top of the pod, gently swing your legs around until they are resting inside the pod in the water. Once inside the pod, pull down the lid before sitting down. You have the option to leave the lid up all the way, or can pull down halfway at the balance point. You can even fold up your washcloth and stick it in between the lid and pod, creating a small air gap for fresh air. Once inside with the lid closed, gently lay back, trying not to splash. While the light is still on inside pod, familiarize yourself with the location of the control buttons, which control lights, music, and intercom to the front desk in case of an emergency. Look where the spray bottle full of water is in case you get salt water in eyes, as well as your washcloth located by the filters. Look and feel around to make sure you know where things are before you turn the lights out and is pitch black. Try to keep hands away from your face. If you have an itch on your face, try to work through it if you can. If you must itch, you can reach over and grab your washcloth that is inside the pod to scratch your face. If salt water did get in your eyes, you can reach over and use the spray bottle with fresh water to rinse out your eyes. If you do sit up while inside the pod, try to keep your head tilted back a little so the water will not run down your face from your wet hair. Float position. There are many different floating options one can choose from. Here are a few you can try, but you can try whatever feels best for you. Hands by side, hands lightly crossed under the belly button, hands crossed over the chest. For those with shoulder and neck pain, find that hands next to head or fingers interlaced lightly between your head and neck. Try to let the head and neck fully relax and let go of all the stress and tension. If you feel like you are guarding the head, you can try one of our Floaties head supports that gently hold your head up on top of the water. Not letting go of your head and neck might prevent you from full relaxation in the rest of your body. Earplugs are not necessary but available if you want them. Many people prefer to use them as the salt can irritate the ear if not rinsed out thoroughly. Vaseline and Band-Aids are available for anyone that has cuts or scratches. It is not a big deal if you fall asleep while floating. You cannot roll over while sleeping. Float centers on the West Coast have overnight floats where people sleep in the pods, so you have nothing to fear. Nausea could be a sign of detoxing or a sign of the body letting go of stress carried in the stomach. At the end of your session, the pump will kick back on, and as the water pressure builds up, you will hear some air bubbles coming out into the water until a steady stream of water continuously runs. That means your session has come to an end. Please be cautious getting back out of the pod into the shower, as floating makes one very relaxed. Take a shower making sure you rinse all the salt out of your hair, face, and ears. Please be mindful of the time in the room after your session is complete, so that we have time to tidy up the room before the next client arrives. That wraps up our introduction. Now is a good time to put your phone in airplane mode, or turned off completely. While you are floating, your senses sometimes become heightened, so it can be disturbing even if it's on vibrate.